Sea of Thieves is a game that really reminds me of Minecraft. I come in and out of playing this game basically every couple of years at this point. I always find myself having great amounts of fun, and then after a couple of weeks I just remember basically being there like, oh, I'm bored now, there's not much to do. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. From what I've seen online, compared to my experience and others, a lot of people have the same thing where they kind of go in and out of playing this game, and Minecraft as well. You'll go about 2 to 4 weeks out of an entire year possibly of playing this game, and then just basically ditch it off for the entire time. It's something at the root of this game though that people do love, and the same goes for Minecraft, but there's something that's not making it sustainable. Before we jump into this full video, if you wouldn't mind leaving a like and subscribing to the channel, help it grow, everything like that. I upload gaming content every single Friday, and I try my best to upload one gaming critique once a month. Currently a little bit off track, I know, but next week will be the Red Dead 2 critique, so make sure to go check that out once it's out, and every Wednesday I make whatever I want to. So that's something interesting to you, make sure to subscribe and make sure to like the video if you enjoy these sorts of topics. This game is one that's actually amazing to jump back into over and over again. It's really interesting to see why that is. And honestly, when it comes to this game, it's something that you can jump into with your friends, and you just end up finding that your time goes by so quickly. It's almost like, you know, you're having great fun and time flies by when you're having fun. But yeah, that is how this game works, really. It's the same as Minecraft. You can have 2 weeks of your life gone within a matter of, it feels like hours. And that's because you're having so much fun on these games, and then you look back and you're like, oh, it was not sustainable. With Sea of Thieves though, it's had so many updates since its release that there is actually tons of content to do outside of just the main faction quest lines and basic grind that this game has, that honestly it's actually really weird to think how people do get bored of this game, including myself. But in this video I'm going to be talking about why I think this game and Minecraft fall under the same fate of kind of being used every now and again throughout a year, maybe 2 years to be played. If that is something that sounds interesting to you and you want to kind of talk about and learn maybe why this game is so amazing but also so boring at the same time, then let's jump into it. Well, first I think we have to look at the game that comes close in terms of engagement as Sea of Thieves, and that would be Minecraft. We all know that feeling of jumping onto a Minecraft world that you're going to create with your friends, and you all get so hyped at the beginning, have so many ideas of what you want to do to begin with. It's great for the first week, but as everyone starts to become more powerful in the game, we all just start to feel that sense of boredom and just stale moments that comes along. That you're actually there mining and nothing's going on. You are building your house and it's just getting boring. And this is because, in my opinion, Minecraft relies on 2 features to stay alive, and that is stats and imagination. Obviously, I'm not the first person to think about this, but honestly I do like this just general idea because, to be honest, Minecraft does rely on both of them a lot. Most people will play Minecraft with the intention of first getting their set of diamond armor and then building their really nice house. And then after that, people will start to do things such as getting the best gear in the game that you possibly can with enchants, iron farming, gold farming, and redstone contraptions. But whatever it ends up being, we end up filling up that stat bar more and more, and the imagination one just starts lacking in comparison. Now, for a lot of us, we can end up having massive ideas and massive amounts of imagination for what you want to do when you first start that Minecraft world, but it ends up becoming boring, and honestly that's because we end up taking on tasks that are too big for ourselves. We end up having to do things that take so much imagination that honestly you need time to recharge. And most people end up recharging by stopping playing the game, which is a fair enough good way of recharging. However, most people will then just never touch the game again at that point because it just becomes too overwhelming to even think about jumping back on. Or others will do things like going mining. However, once you've already got all the best gear, you're kind of stuck in that loop of there's no point of mining and there's no point of doing something because you've got other things that you want to do but you can't push yourself to actually do. And because Minecraft relies so heavily on stats and imagination, it means that this game can become very boring very quickly because it's very easy to fill up your stat bar in Minecraft than it is to fill up your imagination side of things. You can end up getting the best netherite armor, all the best enchants, all the best tools, everything like that, have all the farms that you want, all working at the perfect unison that you need, and you just end up getting bored because there's so much stats that you can fill out in this game and get yourself to a really great point that the imagination just ends up becoming lacking. Now end up losing the want to actually play the game because Minecraft is a game that really is meant to be imagination first. You're meant to be able to build whatever you want, but most players end up taking the stats over imagination, and that's why we end up only playing it for about a week. And to be honest, the replayability of Minecraft ends up becoming more and more lacking as you'll never have the same feeling you felt when finding your first diamonds, the first village, first lot of netherite, nether fortress, or even killing the end dragon for the first time. You lose all of those dopamine hits, so this game just ends up becoming desatisfying. And then you rely on your imagination to play the game, but most of us have too much of our massive desire to build something that's so epic in scale that we end up just overwhelming ourselves in what we want to build, and that then just puts you off playing the game. Now you might be thinking, why am I talking about Minecraft so much in a video that's about Sea of Thieves? Why didn't I just talk about Minecraft mainly? Well, the first reason is because I think Sea of Thieves relies on these two pillars as well, but a lot less on the imagination side, which is why the game becomes a lot boring a lot quicker. The only difference is that Sea of Thieves has a lot more to do in terms of the stats side of things, so people end up just driven to kind of become completionists in those areas. You might think to yourself that there's plenty of games out there that solely rely on the stats element, but most of them actually have full in-depth stories that are being told at the same time, or so much of a skill gap that being good at the game is some form of status, versus Sea of Thieves where it's only really meant to be played in bursts. As there isn't enough content to keep you playing this game for multiple years on end, let alone keeping you playing for multiple months. And it's the lack of just anything that's not just numbers on your screen and having fun with your friends. This isn't to say that the game is bad. I really do enjoy this game and I love it. It's one of my favorite games to play when it just comes to chilling out and just playing a game with your friends. There's a lot you can do in this game, but because of how very niche it is in terms of what you're doing and in terms of the leveling system, it becomes boring very quickly. I love playing this game with all of my friends, but because of its lack of interesting story being told or even an imaginational side of it that lets you run wild with ideas, you end up stuck at a moment where you've done everything you can do to keep you on that hamster wheel. And that is honestly why Sea of Thieves is one of the greatest games that you can play to sink time into, but it doesn't keep us playing. It's solely down to the fact that it doesn't have any other element to it besides those stats and those leveling systems. It doesn't have an interesting narrative being played, it relies solely on multiplayer fun, and all games like these, no matter where you're looking, this can be Rust, Minecraft, Sea of Thieves, and many others out there that put you to a point where you just don't want to play the game anymore. And it's because you're solely relying on your friends really to have that fun, and most of these games don't have enough of things for you to do, so really you end up stuck in this infinite cycle of just playing it maybe 1 to 2 weeks at a time every year, and you might swap out Sea of Thieves with Minecraft, Rust, and Minecraft, doing all these things where you're just swapping all these games out over and over again. But because of the lack of just anything else outside of that stat bar or making yourself the best possible character in a limited time like in games like Rust or Minecraft, you end up just stuck, and there's such a lack of imagination that a lot of us have that just don't make you want to play this game anymore. But with that all being said, like I mentioned, I'm not saying either one of these games is necessarily bad. I love all three of those games. Rust, not so much. I've never understood the full appeal of it. I've enjoyed it, but I don't really think it's as great as people like to make it out to be. But with that all being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to leave a like and do subscribe to see more content like this in the future. I upload gaming content, like I mentioned, every single Friday, whatever I want on Wednesdays, and as well as that, I try to upload a gaming critique roughly once a month, currently lacking behind that. But yes, Red Dead 2 will be next week, hopefully. I said that last Friday, but it should be this time next week. So yeah, make sure to leave a like, do subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Have a good one.